President Metropolitan Boris, Mayor Andrzej, Rector Taras Dabko, distinguished faculty, and above all, incoming students at UCU. It is a tremendous honor for me to be with you at the start of this academic year and receive this honorary degree from this remarkable institution. To receive this degree from UCU at any time would be a great honor, but is especially so at this time when the eyes of the world are fixed on Ukraine in its valiant battle against aggression. As soldiers fight on the front to defend the freedom of Ukraine, you incoming students fight to acquire an education that will enable you to build the future of this great nation. Both battles, the one for military defense and the one for education, are critically important to the future of this nation. I am honored and humbled to address you today. As was mentioned, I come from Notre Dame in the United States, and the connections between our institutions are deep, as Rector Taras mentioned. Metropolitan Boris is a dear friend of mine and came to deliver the commencement address at Notre Dame in 2022. As Taras mentioned, Notre Dame is known for its American football team, which for a century has had great success in competition with other American colleges. We happen to hold our commencement ceremonies in the football stadium because it is the only place that can hold all our graduates and their families. Bishop Boris not only gave an inspiring speech to our graduates, he demonstrated his athletic prowess by throwing a football to one of the students in the audience. It was a good pass, thrown right to the student. Now, I was tempted to bring what we call a soccer ball in America to kick it into the audience, but I thought better of it. I didn't want to embarrass myself. Notre Dame has been proud to host UCU faculty and students on our campus, including Rector Dabko, and I have come to know them well. In October of 2022, we had a moving event on our campus. We staged a reading of the Greek drama by Aeschylus, The Suppliant Maidens. The play tells the story of refugees, primarily women, from Egypt who came to the Greek city of Argos seeking protection from a tyrant in their land who wanted to force the women of the group into unwanted marriages. They pleaded with the king of Argos, Pelasgus, who was torn between desire to help the refugees and the fear of drawing his city into a war with Egypt. The citizens of Argos voted overwhelmingly to accept and protect the refugees. What made the play so very powerful for us was that the parts of the refugee women in the play were performed by students from UCU to an American audience. The drama raises the compelling question of what the plight of those who are not in our immediate family or our ethnic group or our nation has to do with us. What responsibility do we have to help them? What risks ought we to take on their behalf? It is a question with which the leaders of my nation, the United States, struggle. As you probably know, Catholic social teaching is a body of teachings developed in the Church in reflecting powerfully on the often cruel realities of human history. The answer to the question raised by Aeschylus's suppliant woman is found in key teachings in that doctrine: the dignity and worth of every human person and the call to solidarity. The dignity of every human person demands that we cherish each person and respect their God-given rights. Moreover, Catholic social teaching recognizes the interdependence of the human family. It sees that each of us depend on others for our well-being, and others depend on us for their well-being. Solidarity expresses the call to affirm this interdependence, to acknowledge our dependence on others, and to commit to doing what we can to contribute to their well-being. As much as the dominant culture of the Western world encourages us to assert our individuality and independence, we are inescapably part of many concentric circles of human interdependence. Our families, our local communities, our nation, and our world. We depend on others, and others depend on us. The English poet John Donne expressed this well long ago in a poem which read, "No man is an island, entire unto itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main." Donne lived at a time when the church bell tolled whenever anyone in the town died. And so he concluded his poem, "Do not ask for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee." The injustice, the suffering, the threat to freedom in Ukraine or in any other place is a threat to the rest of us. I hope my presence with you here today serves as a humble expression of our interdependence and our commitment to solidarity with a fellow Catholic university. As you may know, there's a strand of thought among some in my country that holds that what happens to a people in a distant land does not concern the United States, and we need not trouble ourselves to help them. We must fight against that thought. We must affirm the solidarity of the human family. The people of Ukraine are in the midst of a great war, and there has been much suffering, death, and loss. When you fight against injustice and aggression, you fight for the rest of us who love peace and justice. We remember those who have lost their lives in this conflict, particularly those who are graduates of UCU, its faculty, its staff, or immediate relatives. Over 30 members of the UCU family have made the ultimate sacrifice. I express my personal condolences and profound respect for all who are mourned. Notre Dame remembers. America remembers. Remember the many who have been injured and traumatized, the victims of war crimes, the prisoners of war and those being tortured, the abducted children and the MIAs, all who have lost homes, and the millions who have been forced to become refugees. We remind the world that when the bell tolls, announcing these deaths, displacements, and losses, it tolls for all of us. Students, you have such an important role in this current struggle. You have and are sacrificing, many have and are sacrificing for you to be here, to engage your studies and to pursue a degree. Your task will be to devote yourself to your course of studies, to learn much and prepare yourselves to build an even better future for Ukraine after the current struggle ends. This war will end, and the task of building a future Ukraine will begin. Do everything you can to make the most of the opportunity you have been given. Do it for yourself, but do it for the many people who have sacrificed to enable you to study. I know you will. You will learn from your course of studies, but you will also learn a great deal about inner strength and resilience by doing it in the midst of this war. Do not, however, simply resign yourself to the studies in the midst of great hardship. Resist the forces that want to discourage and intimidate you. Respond to these forces by being people of hope, as Rector Dobko said. Hope is that virtue central to Christian faith that allows us to look beyond the current turmoil to a free and prosperous future for the people of this nation. The future will not be here in a week, a month, or even perhaps for several years. Yet hope is the virtue that allows your eyes allows you to keep your eyes firmly fixed on the future of peace, to believe that will come despite the challenges, and to work tirelessly for it. True, enduring hope stands between two other attitudes, a dark pessimism and a rosy optimism. Pessimism tells us that disaster is inevitable, effort is futile, our best option is to resign ourselves to a sad fate. Optimism, in contrast, expects that a good outcome is just around the corner, but it fails to acknowledge the unwelcome facts and daunting challenges of the current moment. Optimism sees the world through tinted glasses that block out unwelcome realities. Now, hope does have something in common with optimism on one hand, for it believes in a fruitful solution, and on the other hand, it shares with pessimism an evaluation of the situation that is unflinching and unvarnished. Yet despite these similarities, there is a profound difference between hope and these other attitudes. Both optimism and pessimism are at their heart excuses for avoiding engagement in careful analysis, serious thought, and courageous action. For the optimist, it's not really so grave, so a vigorous analysis, thought, and action are not necessary. For the pessimist, the situation is so grave that any response is futile. We must simply resign ourselves to the dark outcome. And so, for opposite reason, optimism and pessimism excuse one from serious analysis, thought, and action. For the optimist, these are unnecessary. For the pessimist, they are futile. Hope, on the other hand, does not excuse. It demands. It demands, first of all, that we see the world as it is. It demands that we assess seek to understand, analyze, think, argue, seek solutions, overcome frustrations and failures. Most importantly, it demands the courage and commitment of individual and common action. Your call, students of UCU, is to be people of hope. The virtue of hope, I believe, is deeply encoded into the DNA of the Ukrainian Catholic University. Its predecessor, the Greek Catholic Theological Academy, was founded in Lviv in 1929 under the guidance of its rector, Joseph Slipich. It immediately became a renowned center for theological and philosophical studies and a center for Ukrainian national, intellectual, cultural, and spiritual life at a time when the region was under Polish authorities. When the region fell under Soviet control in 1939, the academy was closed and many of its faculty and students were arrested, executed, or deported. During the war, it was bombed by the Nazis. When Soviet control returned, the academy was again closed, and many of its graduates and professors were sent to gulags. And under Soviet pressure, the Greek Catholic Church was subsumed under the Russian Orthodox Church. When Ukraine achieved its independence, the Lviv Theological Academy was established and began granting degrees. The Ukrainian Catholic University emerged on the foundation laid by the Lviv Theological Academy, and from that date, UCU has had remarkable success. How was it possible that for this institution to emerge from such a trying history of war, destruction, closures, oppression, imprisonment, and persecutions? Why didn't this institution and its people simply give up and stop trying? Many factors contributed, no doubt, but none were more critical than the unyielding hope of generations associated with this great institution to bring them through so many dark days and desperate trials. Students of UCU, that is your legacy. It will be your task to carry it on. Bring to your studies diligence and discipline, creativity and questions, yet also bring to them the fierce, unblinking hope on which this institution was built. Whatever the trials, do not give way to despair or cynicism. The world needs the hope that UCU represents. It will be your task to carry that legacy forward. Thank you for the great honor you have bestowed on me today. I promise always to keep all of you and UCU in my daily prayers. Continue to inspire the rest of us. God bless you all. Slava Ukraini.